Welcome to Victoria, Australia. Sebastian Ocampo on pole from Catfish and Revo. Then it's Oscar Folstad, Marcus Nelson in 5th. Then the two power drivers of UK Ball and Pierre Gasly. Daf Sanchez starts 8th from Daniel Bogdasarov. Then it's Iker World in 10th from Mohamed Awawi and Tommy. Remy LeBeau starts 13th from Pablo Sierra and the other Trackhouse driver Vlad Leclerc, fresh off of winning in Munich. And it's the Red Devil. Not Hugh Tenali Gabo, the man second, only 18th. Then it's Zach Wallace, Arnett Babinus Jr., Ben Allen Lee, and Zay Lane. Well, the World Drivers' Championship certainly seems wide open. Ocampo for the second weekend in a row on pole. All the lights go on. And the Victoria Prix is green. Pretty good start from both front row men, as it is usually. On board with Ocampo as they head down into the first chicane. Catfish right alongside him with the inside line after starting in second, and it's still alongside the season 14-19 champion. And I think that should be the race lead as they come through turn number 3. Catfish leads the Victoria Prix from Ocampo and Folstad. Revo, who started in 3rd with the hard tires, has dropped down to 4th position. Folstad looking for a way to get past his fellow champion as they come through the second sector now, one of the fastest sectors on the calendar. Folstad looking for a way to try and get past Ocampo, who's in the slipstream of the Sims Porsche driver in front of him. But out in front, Catfish, righting the wrongs of last time out, leads the way, and this time doesn't have a penalty to get in his way. Although, considering the nature of races here in Victoria, I don't think a penalty would do too much to him. Folstad now up into second, ahead of the man who started on pole as they come through the final turn. And attack mode is now online. They won't be able to use it on the start-finish straight until lap 2, but Ocampo still sizing up a move. Here they come through the opening chicane. No attack mode coming into turn number 3, but they have dropped outside of the second behind in Catfish, who is having an absolutely stunning day in the office so far. So it is Catfish from Folstad and Ocampo. The two power drivers up into 5th and 6th ahead of Marcus Nelson as the midfield fight certainly does seem to be heating up a little bit. Sierra and last time out race winner Leclerc running over 14th position. Tenali Gabo still down in 18th for the man second in the championship. The man who's leading the championship is only 14th and looking for a way to get past Remy LeBeau. But I think Ocampo might be looking for a way to go past Folstad. He looked to the inside but just didn't commit. Gasly now up into 5th position. And Power Renault, who started the season by winning a crown jewel event, they are now currently 5th and 6th, and having that be their only double point score so far. Folstad with the fastest lap. He's going to be able to get attack mode in the second sector to try and get past Catfish. But for the man who started in second, he is certainly having a very good day in the office. Forced to lock in, says the Sims team principal, Jonathan Sims himself. Former ERL driver, decided to commit to running his own team, and I think he's finally seeing the fruits of his labour come to fruition. Revo causing a little bit of a gap between himself and Ocampo due to him being on those hard tyres. Whether that will work out in terms of the strategy or not, we'll only have to know on lap number 14. Folstad 4/10 of a second behind as his teammate getting a track limits warning. Gabo gets passed by Babinus Jr., but his teammate still leads the way as he's looking to try and take the championship lead for the first time since... And I'm not too sure about this, I'm just going to say it. I think this is going to be the first time Catfish is going to lead the championship since Season 5. You can look back into the archives to see if that's true, as Ocampo gets himself up into 2nd, and Gasly's got himself up into 4th. Revo's hard tyres absolutely doing him zero favours. In fact, I'm not too sure if hard tyres are a good way to start any race because the Red Devil is down in 21st position. Zay Lane, who's never really been good at starting normal races, is just doing what he can in 22nd on board with Folstad as he and Ocampo both have attack mode, but there's clearly only one of the two who's going for that race lead. Hint, hint, it's not the Norwegian. as they now come through the third to last turn and into that chicane. It's actually the fourth to last turn because you see the chicane ends with that long turn there. And it is attack mode for Ocampo. He's not using attack charge. I think, no, Catfish is not using any attack charge as they head down into the first chicane. Ocampo is not quite close enough to try and go for a move. On board with the two-time ERL Formula E World Drivers Champion. And he's still not quite able to get past. He's nowhere near close to the back of Catfish. To be completely honest with you, last time out in Munich, certainly looked, felt, and tasted like a missed opportunity. But now, the Sims team principal on the radio to his driver Catfish, just saying simply lovely. I think that tells everyone what the mood at Sims is like. They are not stressed in the slightest. The attack mode is wide open for Ocampo. I think Sims are going to be going for the championship for this season. We have received a leak DM between members of DS Cheetah who have basically said, while we will continue to be upgrading the powertrain as Ocampo and Falstad both come into the pits, as well as, I believe, Pierre Gasly, yes, the Techeetah organization themselves, they have decided not to do any major upgrades to the car until season 22. They are all in on the Gen 2 ERL car. 8 laps to go. Catfish leads, Revo second, Ucable third, with Marcus Nelson in fourth. What do the top 4 drivers currently all have in common? It's not that they've all been teammates with each other before, it's that they were on the grid in that first race in Shanghai. They were all there, every single one of them. Revo and Ucable were driving for Next TV. Catfish was driving for, of all teams, Virgin, as Bogdasarov now gets himself up into 4th. And Marcus Nelson was driving for a Mahindra team who, at the time, just wanted to start the season well and do literally nothing else afterwards. Catfish now rounding out the final turn, and he comes into the pits with some very worn, soft tyres. We don't expect to see any virtual safety cars in this race, as in comes Bogdasarov. If there are going to be any virtual safety cars, it's going to come from a puncture, but I don't really see that happening. If not a puncture, it's going to be from changeable conditions, and the radar suggests that it's going to be completely dry from start to finish, as it has been for the prior 3 rounds. Catfish came out of the pits in 6th position. He's not out of the pits yet, actually. He's just come out. He is behind Ocampo, just ahead of Falstad. Staying out 1 extra lap might not have worked too well, but here's what we do know. He will be able to make it to the end of this race comfortably, because Ucable and Chiclerc have both started on the medium tyres and are currently still on them 7 laps later. There's a chance, of course, that Ocampo and Falstad both decide to pit, and for Sims, they are certainly hoping that they decide to come in and pit, as they're on board with Ucable. And there's supposedly a bit of a rivalry forming between the Renault-powered teams and Sims themselves, who are going for their first real championship hunt. Ucable comes into the pits at the end of lap 7, at the start of lap 8. Revo leads with 6 laps to go. Chiclerc staying out. Gabo now comes in for his first stop. How has he managed 8 laps on the softs? How has Tenali Gabo managed to do 8 laps on the soft tyres? That's so long. On the same set. He is the new tyre whisperer in this league. I'm not taking anyone else's opinion. Tenali Gabo, as he now comes out of the pits, outside of the top 10, outside of the top 15, he's going to come out in 18th, 19th, exactly where he was. He was stretching those soft tyres thin. They must have been at the carcass, but he was the last. He's not actually the last of the regular tyre runners to come into the pits, because you've got the top 3 who are all yet to stop in the Prix, and it's just impressive what Chiclerc is doing out there for Trackhouse Renault as well. Taking home victory last time out in Munich. It wasn't a popular victory because they all just wanted to see Catfish win. As Revo pits, Chiclerc pits, what does the Red Devil do? Does he stay out or does he come in? He comes in, so Ocampo will be leading from Falstad and Catfish. Catfish dropped behind the Norwegian in front of him. He's got attack mode, however, to try and take back second position and get back to where he started. But he's not quite able to do that yet. He swung and he missed. 5 to go in Victoria, and here he comes down the inside on the McLaren driver. Looks to try and sweep around the outside. It'll become the inside again, but he does decide to stay on the outside. Here they come into the second sector. The slowest part of the second sector now meets them. Track limits warning for Catfish, who drops behind Falstad. Both he and Gasly are going to get attack mode here, but I think Gasly is going to be the one to make the most of it. Because look at this, he's on the inside. He's going to get attack mode on both of them in front of him, fighting over second position. This is some fight indeed. Here he comes down the inside. Goes Gasly up into second position for Power Renault. But here comes Catfish to try and take third back. He's looking to the outside. I doubt that's going to work too well for him. Almost contact between the two drivers. There goes Catfish to P3. And using attack mode, with 4 laps to go, he closes up and gets past Gasly on the straight. That second position back in the hands of the Malaysian driver, who is still searching for his first win back in the ERL. He is searching for his team, Sims Porsche's first win in the ERL. Sims Porsche currently lead the Constructors' Championship and have a 2-5 in the drivers. And they've done all of that without winning a single race. Not just this season, but in their entire existence. Fastest first sector goes to UK Ball in 5th. He and his team, Power Renault, certainly have taken home victory in this league before. In fact, that's how they started this season. Fastest first sector goes to the Red Devil in 21st position. Zay Lane in 22nd, just hanging on to the back of the pack is all I can suggest. That's what he's doing with 4 laps to go. And there hasn't been a single retirement. This is the first race so far this season without a retirement. 2 seconds is the gap between first and second. Attack mode for Pierre Gasly. Attack mode for UK Ball as well, who uses that attack mode to try and draw alongside it. Falstad as Ica World comes in for a second stop. That is 4th position. And for Falstad still, Sierra and Alan Lee both into the pits. Zach Wallace further back gets a 5-second time penalty for causing a collision. That's the first penalty of the day. Here he comes to try and get past both Remy LeBeau and Babinus Jr. He's a very aggressive driver. Didn't seem to work out for him in his debut season. UK Ball swerving all over the back of his teammate like a madman. Falstad getting a track on his warning as he drops down to 6th. And is this Victoria Prix beginning to really heat up as Power Motorsport now with a 3-4 all alongside each other. One of them has attack mode, the other one doesn't. The one with attack mode is French as they come through that turn. Side by side they go. Still alongside each other as they head into the final chicane. And Ocampo's pitted. Ocampo has come into the pits with 2 laps to go. Also in the pits, I think that was Falstad. No, it was Bogdasarov. So Catfish, with 2 laps to go, leads the Victoria Prix from the 2 Power Renault drivers of UK Ball and Pierre Gasly. Marcus Nelson in 4th, doing all he can to try and help his team Diaz de Cheetah out in their trying season. He's now up into 3rd. Sanchez and Falstad fighting over 5th position. And the gap between 1st and 7th is 3 seconds. 7 drivers, 3 seconds the gap between them. This is absolute cinema in the ERL Formula E Series. As look at that from Gasly fighting with Sanchez. Their mediums and soft tyres have absolutely had it. If they don't pit soon, they might risk a puncture, but I'm pretty sure that they are going for the victory. In fact, Catfish probably should be good to the end of the race. He should finish this race on about the 30s, so he should be good. 48% tyre wear for UK Ball, and they both funnel into the pits. Revo leads on the penultimate lap of the Victoria Prix. The season 20 champion himself makes the most of the hard tyre strategy and is now leading the Victoria Prix. Catfish is going to come out of the pits outside of the top 10, and I don't think that stop is going to help him at all. Ocampo now moves up into 8th position ahead of Catfish as they now all funnel through the pit lane. And on the penultimate lap, Techeetah are looking to try and take their first race win since the final round in the chase. They haven't really done too much since the chase. In fact, Revo has only scored points once so far this season, and that was in Shanghai. I'm not too sure if he's ever won the Shanghai E3 before, and that is one of the 3 crown jewels, so every driver wants to win there. He's 3 seconds ahead of Gasly, who's a further 3 seconds ahead of Leclerc. Any intrigue there was for the fight for the victory prior to the pit stops is certainly gone. We're on to the final lap in Australia. Revo leads from Pierre Gasly and Lawless Leclerc. Babinus Jr. is 4th from Zach Wallace and Tenali Gabo. Then it's the Red Devil, Sebastian Ocampo, the man who started this race on pole. Then it's Catfish, Bogdasarov, Nelson, Iker World, and Daf Sanchez, the top 13, as we look to car number 13. And if Strat to Glory was a race for Tsuchida, this would certainly be that race, as Catfish and Nelson fighting over 9th. Nelson's probably going to think of this as going back to the good old days of Season 9, when he won his first and to date only championship. His teammates not just taking 1 championship, he's taken 3. And he's gonna come home, coming through the 3rd to last turn in Victoria with a show-stopping victory done on strategy. Revo takes home the Victoria E-Prix in Season 21. Pierre Gasly is back on the podium, from Lawless Leclerc making it 2 back-to-back podiums. Zach Wallace with a career-best 4th place finish on the road. Then it's Babinus Jr., Gabo, the Red Devil, Ocampo, the fastest lap of 1:03.3. Then it's Nelson and Catfish coming home so close together. Bogdasarov, Iker World, Sanchez, Cable, Tommy with the fastest lap, now a 1:03.083. Falstad, Remy LeBeau, Nawawi, Sierra, the 2 Nissans of Alan Lee and Enoch Hugh, and Zaylane, who comes out of the final turn now. No one would have expected that finish. No one at all. But this is the podium then. Jubilation. That's the only way you can describe how the reigning Drivers' Champion is feeling right now. Finally getting back onto the podium, and the top step at that. Pierre Gasly in 2nd from Lawless Leclerc. Then it's Babinus Jr., Tenali Gabo, the Red Devil, Ocampo, and Zach Wallace. When he finishes in the points, he's always 8th. Then it's Nelson and Catfish, the rest of your finishers. Your non-point scorers were Bogdasarov, Iker World, Sanchez, Cable, Tommy, Falstad, Remy LeBeau, Nawawi, Sierra, Alan Lee, Enoch Hugh, and Zaylane. In the driver standings, Leclerc now leads the way on 42 points from Tenali Gabo and Pablo Sierra. Then it's the 2 power drivers of Pierre Gasly and Cable. Then Revo, the Red Devil, Catfish in 8th from Sebastian Ocampo and Mohamed Nawawi. Then it's Daf Sanchez, Remy LeBeau, Zaylane, Babinus Jr., Nelson, and Zach Wallace, with the non-scorers after the first 4 races being Falstad, Bogdasarov, Alan Lee, World, and Tommy. In the constructors' standings, heading into race 5 in Kuala Lumpur, Sims Porsche DS leads the way on 63 points from Power Renault and Trackhouse Renault. Then it's Kuro Renault, DS Andretti, DS Tsuchida, Renault Edams tied with Mercedes EQ. Then it's DS Venturi Formula E Team, DS McLaren TGR, and Nissan Nismo yet to score any points. We'll see you guys next time then when the ERL Formula E Series returns.